I'm so tired right now. We have now watched, what is this even? This is like number 11 on this list? Okay. We are now continuing the massive Marvel movie marathon in which we are attempting to watch and record post-Geekout reactions for every single one of the Marvel films that we have not already done post-Geekout reactions for. This is Guardians of the Galaxy. We have 2 more after this, and I am running on fumes right now. For anybody out there who wants to attempt to do one of these massive Marvel marathons, I think all the people out there who decide I'm going to watch 1 movie a week leading up to this, I think they had the right idea. We've been cramming too much in here.
But then again, we've been kind of busy the past month
or so,
so yeah.
This was the only time we had to do this. We had no other choice. But yes, so Guardians of the Galaxy, man, what is there to say about this film that no one has already said yet?
It's actually my personal favorite.
I know, yeah, that I know. It's also, I think, the one that we've probably seen the most.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we saw it at a critic screening. Then when it actually got released to the public, we were like, you know what, you want to go and see this again? It was really darn fun. Yeah, let's go and see it again. Then we saw it for the marathon. Then we saw it
for
again.
The second marathon.
Second marathon? Well, no, this was part of the second marathon. But then we saw it again, like, on TV when it came on. Now we just watched it again. It's like, okay, we have really...
Oh, yeah, because it wasn't part of the first marathon. Never mind.
All the phases merged together. But yeah, it's weird. I felt going into this one, rewatching it, like, okay, this will probably be one of the most important ones, because it's the one where we actually get to really see Thanos for the first time, other than just the big turn and smile.
Yeah.
You get introduced to his 2 daughters who are going to play a large role. The Guardians are going to be a big deal in all this. I walked away from this kind of going like, this is probably the film that we have watched in this little marathon we've been doing in which I have gained the least. Because almost every other film that we've watched have been like, oh shoot, you know, that's probably a thing that I know is connecting to this other thing, that could lead into this other thing. I know that might be a thing that comes back. Every single thing in this movie, I remember. Like, this film was exactly as I remember it being. Like,
and that's not a bad thing either, no.
Not at all. I actually, yeah, I was about to say, that's actually probably a positive. Because it means that this was the film that actually stuck with me the best. This was the film that I actually remember the most from.
And the reason why, like, it's my personal favorite is because, like, there's Rocket. A lot of... Besides Rocket, I mean, it's like, there's the entire cast is very good. There's a very diverse, memorable cast of characters, and it's bright and colorful, and lots of action and space and everything, so... This,
man... To all those people out there, it's like all the Marvel movies are the same. It's like you just are sour, sour grapes, man. No, they ain't, because we just watched this right after Winter Soldier, and that is one thing that actually did stick with me this time watching this that I hadn't really like noticed before. Is like, man, I knew this film was different. Never really hit me how different until you go
especially after watching Winter Soldier. Until you go
from Winter Soldier to this, it's like, holy cow.
Big difference.
Huge shift. Like, this film is unique. Like, nobody else could have made this film like this other than James Gunn. Like, this is one of those films where it's got that director's stamp on it. And if you look at what Marvel's doing now with, like, Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther, it's like, yeah, man, Marvel has now gotten to that point, which is like, yeah, just let everybody do what they want to do. Just like, we have the plan, and we were just trying to get up to Infinity War, and I'm really excited for what comes after Infinity War, because I think that after that, they're just going to be like, yeah, man, no plan anymore. Everybody just do whatever they want, which could be total chaos. It could lead to, like, some total madness that just leads to some total failures, but also it can lead to more crazy stuff like this. Because, yeah, this is one of those films where as soon as Star-Lord turns on the tape cassette, which, by the way, best title sequence in any of the Marvel. Easily. I remember when we were watching this in the theaters for the very first time, and it opens with that super dramatic opening. Like, this also has one of the most emotional openings in any of these films. It opens with that, with Peter Quill as a kid, seeing his mom dying of cancer, and it's like, holy cow. And then he's immediately abducted by aliens on the night it's happening. It's like, that is an insane situation to find
yourself in. Wow, as if things couldn't get any worse. Like,
exactly. From the fire into the intergalactic frying pan. But then it cuts to him, and it's just this mysterious dude in the mask walking around. Like, and it's not like a friendly mask. Like, that's an intimidating mask.
It's very intimidating.
In like a big trench coat in space, like, it almost like looks like dark sci-fi. Like, it looks almost like what's the word that I'm trying to look? Kind of like Blade Runner-esque almost when he's walking around there. And he's scanning, he's seeing the people that used to live there. It's like, oh man, there's so much death and destruction here. and then he just turns on the tape recorder and just up there, Guardians of the Galaxy, like, Guardians doesn't even pop up with like a bunch of fanfare, just, it's here. And
boop.
Like, holy cow. I remember watching that in the theater and just being like, what is this going to be? Yeah, it lets you know quick this is going to be a unique movie. So, yeah, this film, the tone is established insanely well, incredibly fast. And I think it did that better than any of the other Marvel films.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that it does incredibly well is all the other Marvel films, it always introduced us to the main character, supporting cast. The only team movie that we've gotten so far has been Avengers, and that was people we already knew. This film had to introduce us to everybody, and it did a damn good job. Like, we get to know everybody in this film, and I love that the one thing, they never really even stop and say it. They never even stop and, like, really say these words. But the one thing that every single person in this group has that happen to them is they have lost their family.
They kind of say that. Like, Rocket says, like, we're a bunch of losers. We all lost something. Like,
that's like the closest they get to it. But, like, Gamora says that, like, her family and parents were murdered, and Thanos abducted her. Drax says that Ronan killed his wife and child. Peter, we saw what happened to him as a kid. Rocket, you never get a sense of his family, but you know that he, like, basically...
He was just a science experiment, so he never really had a family. And Groot, he's just...
Groot is Groot.
Yes.
Groot is Groot. Which Groot, man, it's amazing that you can make a character that lovable who never gives the audience anything. Which, yeah, that's all he gives them. It's just like, I am Groot, and I smile, and I do dopey things. It's like, okay... That's all I need. The audience doesn't need anything else in there. But yeah, I love that this is people who have lost family members and they kind of come together and become a new family. But they never really had to stop and go like, oh, you lost that? Oh, well, you know what? I lost my parents. There is, of course, the moment in which Drax is talking about, I'm sorry that I did that. It's all because I lost this. And Rocket is just like, boo-hoo, we all lost stuff. Doesn't make you... It's like, yeah, that's kind of like the close they get. But they never really have to, like, spell out, like, it's about... this isn't Fast and the Furious, despite the fact that Vin Diesel in here. They don't have to keep stopping and going, we're family. In the second one, they kind of do, but that's because that was, like, more of the point, even more in the first one. But, yeah, I've mentioned before that one of my problems with this film, though, is Ronan, because I think that Ronan is just really a flat, bland villain. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that his whole MO, like they established, the whole like driving force behind him is that he's a Kree fanatic, and he's very mad about these peace treaties that were signed. But they never stop and explain what is the Kree, what is the old Kree's philosophy that they keep, that Ronan holds so dear.
Like, I always just like assumed that like the Kree were like a race of like aliens who were like constantly fighting and killing.
Kind of, yeah. Basically, yes. But I know that from the comics. But in this movie, like his entire driving force is like he's mad about this and like they're not honoring the heritage of the Kree. And it's like, you only see even one other Kree person in here, and he's on the news, and he's on like a little conference call. He's just like, yeah, we signed the peace treaty. That's all we agreed to do. Whatever, bye. And that was it. I was like, do you want to tell us what the peace treaty was? Do you want to tell us like who you were fighting, what you were fighting over? Is there a history here that Ronan is mad about? Was there like a history that the Kree followed and now they're not following it and that's the thing that he's mad about? It's like, you gotta give us something here.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I understand why they made it Ronan like a very flat, one-note character, and it's because Thanos is the one that everyone's trying to build up to, so it's like, you can't have like a really big villain.
Well, see, the thing about that is Loki was also working for Thanos.
Yeah, but...
And Loki is established, like, you get personality on Loki.
But it's like, at the same time, like, Thor and Loki are, like, brothers, so at the same time, it's
you have
like,
a connection there with him?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. But even though I take some points off from this from Ronan being a flat villain, it doesn't bother me that much because this movie isn't about the villain.
No.
This movie is not about we have to stop the bad guy. The movie is about a group of losers who have all lost things coming together and bonding and becoming a family with each other. You could have had anything unite them. It could have been a meteor, it could have been a space hurricane, it could have been a tidal wave, it could have been a virus.
A black hole,
something. Yeah, exactly. It didn't have to really be anything specific. Like, the thing that brought them together really honestly isn't important. It's the fact that they came together. That's the big important part of all of this. So let's see. Just speaking in terms of like comparing this to the comic, I really did dig whenever they leaned into a lot of the mythos from the comic. Like, I dug when we saw Celestials in there. The Celestials being the big giant thing that we saw the Collector talking about. And you saw, like, they wielded the Infinity Stones at one point and destroyed the entire planet with this. Like, holy cow, a Celestial. I remember when I saw this in theaters, I was like, okay, it's insane we're getting Rocket Raccoon and Groot in a movie. That's incredible, I can't believe this. And then Celestial popped up and I went, I never thought I was ever going to see that on screen. But we even got Nowhere in here, which I wanted to explore Nowhere more. Like, it's a celestial head that got turned into a city.
Yes,
I love that
a mining
idea.
city.
Yes, I wanted to really explore that some more. I mean, again, not taking points off for it, because it is just, the whole point of this is they're going from place to place to place to place. But it's such a cool concept.
It is.
Man, it's really cool, and I wish that they had explored it more, but at the same time, the fact that they just move on to the next thing kind of just gives you that feeling of there's a lot of crazy stuff in space.
It's space, there's a lot of it, and there's going to be some crazy shit in there.
Yes, exactly. Let's see, anything else that I want to discuss in here? Oh, I do love that we got Cosmo. Yeah, for anybody who wonders, we did not name Cosmo after the Cosmo from the comics, our old dog Cosmo. We named him after the Cosmonauts, which is what Cosmo in the comics was named after, so they do have a link. But yeah, I love that we got to see him in there. The Collector's whole office in there is one of those things that like comic book fans was just constantly going like, I think it's that thing, I think it's that thing, I think it's that thing.
Like a whole room full of Easter eggs.
Including the orb, which is kind of an Easter egg itself. There is one thing in the Collector's office though that a lot of people, comic fans, kept pointing at and going, that's Adam Warlock's cocoon. And I kind of love that, like, for years people kept going, yeah, they put it in there. And then the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, one of the cliffhangers is those golden people going, I've created something perfect. I shall name him Adam. And then it shows, like, the cocoon. I was like, yeah, you were all wrong. It ain't that at all.
It was a replica.
Yeah. Fake. Yeah, that's the thing. If you ever see something in a museum or in like a storage room inside of a Marvel movie, wait and see if they actually talk about it before you go, oh, it's definitely that, because we're now 2 for 2 on them not actually being it. Let's see. Man, I know that this is one of the ones that everybody loves the most. And it's one of the ones that I love the most as well. It's in my top 5. I really do dig this. But it's also one which is like, yeah, man, it's really good.
Yeah,
really
there's
funny.
really not much to talk about. Like,
yeah, and everybody has seen this too. Like, I don't have like a unique perspective on this. I don't have like anything really interesting to throw in there.
Yeah, it's not deep. It's fun, but that's why everyone likes it. You know, it's
is some depth into like the whole family thing.
Yeah, but like not something that like you can like look at in different ways or different perspectives.
But it's
like,
also a
intricate or like there's no like deeper meaning or like
but it's also a
conspiracies or anything like that. Like,
but it's also a really hard comedy, and honestly, it's one of those ones where if you're not going to go through and just point out joke by joke by joke which ones you like, there ain't that much to talk about in it. Although I will say, Bradley Cooper knocked it out of the park as Rocket Raccoon, and I remember when he got cast as that, so many people said that is an awful choice. He is the wrong person for that. And not to toot my own horn, but I was like one of the only people I knew who was like, no man, he is going to nail this. He is exactly what I picture as Rocket Raccoon. And yeah, man, he nailed it. He knocked it out of the park. Everybody in here is really good. Like,
yeah.
I will say, I didn't really care for Nebula that much in the first film. I didn't really enjoy, I can't remember the actress, but the girl who used to be on Doctor Who. I didn't really enjoy her that much in the role. What was she in Jumanji? Something Roundhouse? Ruby Roundhouse. Yeah, that's just what I'm going to call her. I didn't really enjoy her that much in the first film, but I really like her in the second film. I think she showed a lot of improvement in that. But in the first film, they don't really do as much with her as I would have liked, but again, it's about the heroes, not the villains. In the second one, you get to explore that more.
Yeah, it's like, I kind of felt like out of the main cast, like Drax was the one that was like least,
Interesting?
Interesting, yeah, okay. But like they fixed that in the second movie. Like they gave him more screen time, like gave him more personality, so.
He was more than a joke.
More than a joke, yes.
Although he was still very heavily a joke in the second one.
It was still funny.
Yes. But yeah, he didn't get nearly as much work on him as the other characters did.
He wasn't as developed.
Because he is just basically like, I will destroy, and that's his entire character. Which is fine. I mean, it works for this.
Yeah. If it works, then don't complain about it, right?
Yes. It's kind of hard to. I will say, throughout this entire marathon we've been doing, every single time we get to a character who I'm like, they're going to die in Infinity. Which, again, this is not like spoilers for Infinity War. This is me just taking random guesses at. I gotta say, I think Nebula is a definite. I think Nebula is definitely going to die because at the end of Guardians 2, she kind of patches things up with her sister and she's like, you know, you can join us. I was like, nope, I am off to kill Thanos. And I'm looking at this and it's like, well, the Guardians, they didn't really care about taking Thanos down. They were like, we're just gonna kind of avoid Thanos. Drax wants to kill Thanos.
Yes.
But nobody else in this party really wants to even mess with Thanos. If this movie opens up with Thanos killing Nebula, it will make Gamora go, we gotta take care of this now. And also, I think Drax has a good chance of going down too. Like, Nebula, I think, is a lock. But I think Drax has a good chance too, because in the comics, Drax's entire thing is, I was created solely to kill Thanos. Like, I was a person who was experimented on to be turned into the perfect weapon to kill Thanos. And if he even sees Thanos, he goes into like a blood rage and just loses all control and goes after him.
Yeah, I can definitely see him like dying in like in the heat of battle, like in honor, and that was like that'd be like an honorable way for him to go.
Exactly, and at the end, and in this movie, they basically turn Thanos into Ronan. It's like, Ronan's the one who killed my family. I must go after Ronan. When they get Ronan, he's like, yeah, but Ronan was working for Thanos. I won't rest until I kill Thanos.
Yeah.
So it's like, alright, you kind of turned him into what he is in the comics after the end of this. And in the trailers for Avengers Infinity War, we do see that this thing is going to kind of end with Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Star-Lord, and Drax all ending up on some space planet where they have to fight Thanos. Yeah, I think Iron Man has a good shot of going down there. I'm like 90% sure Iron Man's not making it through this one. But I can also totally picture, like, Drax, like, everybody has to get away, everyone has to escape, and then Drax just like jumps out of the ship like knives up there, like going in at Thanos. So yeah, I think Drax has a good shot going, which is a shame. I really like Dave Bautista. I really like him as Drax. I love him as part of this team.
Yeah.
Nebula, she's really good with the connection that she has with Gamora. That was one of the best things about the sequel. But she's not really part of the main squad.
Yeah.
Drax, if he goes, I'm going to be really sad. But let's see, anything else? Man, that's how little you know we have to say about this one when we're talking about what might be coming up in the next film. Anything else? Anything else in this film? I dig absolutely the style of all the architecture in here. Like, yeah, I think Ronan is kind of a flat character, but his ship says so much about him. Like, his ship absolutely, like, goes, yeah, I know what kind of guy this is. And, oh god, we haven't talked about the Reavers. Yondu and his whole crew. Man, you want to talk about a character who is nothing at all like he is in the comic. Yondu, totally different in this than he is in the comic. But I'm fine with that. Because what they created in here is fantastic. The character they created for Yondu in here works so damn well. And I love that, you know, they don't lean on in this one. It becomes a thing in the second one. Yeah. That he's basically Star-Lord's semi-dad. Not like biologically, but I mean like his adopted father.
Like foster dad,
yeah.
stepdad.
Surrogate father?
Surrogate? I guess so.
I don't know the terms. It is so late, I am so tired. But yeah, it's, they lean on that as a heavy thing in the sequel, but in this one, I love that he goes, these boys wanted to eat you, but I told them not to. You owe me. And he's just like, oh my god, you keep bringing it up. And that was the moment which I went, I get what they're doing here. He's supposed to be his dad. Because it's that thing where it's like the parents never let you forget that one thing. It's like, yeah, man, like it's amazing that in that one line you instantly get that feeling. Like they nailed that so incredibly well. The Nova Corps is very interesting in here as well, because the Nova Corps is nothing at all like it is in the comics. The Nova Corps in the comics, it's kind of almost like the Green Lantern Corps, where they're all superpowered individuals. Here they're just like ace pilots flying ships. Yeah. I'm fine with that. You didn't need to introduce like superpowers and like you didn't have to introduce a team of superpowered individuals. Also, if you introduce a team of superpowered individuals, it'd be like, couldn't they just take down Ronan?
Like, why can't they be the new Avengers?
Yeah, exactly. Like, seems like if every single person in those ships also had like Thor-level superpowers. Seems like Ronan still would have met his match there. It wouldn't really matter. But I love at the end of this when you see the Nova Corps teaming up with the Guardians. Like, it's great seeing, like, the big high and mighty Law and Order guys having to team up with the scruffy, like, rebels. It really did... Man, it is some semi, like, Star Wars-y stuff there at the end of this. Because you have all these pilots being destroyed, kind of like in the first Star Wars film, and you're like, I don't know who any of them are, but I am kind of getting attached to them. Like, that one guy who was just a dick to the team the entire time, when he dies, yeah, all I know is his name was Saul, and that he was kind of a dick, but I've kind of gotten an attachment with him. Like, it was enough to make me go, oh shoot, no, not, what was his name, Saul? Yeah, not him. So it did kind of work. But yeah, I do really kind of hope that in future films, if they plan on keeping the Nova Corps around, they do like introduce the idea of the superpowered soldiers, because I want them to like eventually introduce like the Earth Novas that they had. Both of them are great characters, and I don't want them to just be pilots with ships. But yeah, I got nothing else to really say about this one. It was fun, it was good seeing it again, but we have watched this one so many times. I have like nothing else to pick apart from it. But again, that is something to congratulate this film on. We have watched it so many times, and I have enjoyed it every single time on like the same level that I enjoyed it the first time. Yeah. Not in like the amount of enjoyment I got, but I mean like everything I got from it the first time, I've gotten every single other time. Like, it wasn't like Avengers where every single time I watch it, it's like, oh, there's a thing in this thing that I never even noticed before. Or like when we watched Winter Soldier again, I was like, holy cow, I didn't really appreciate like all the dramatic stuff in here before when I was watching in theaters. This is a film where the first time I watched it in theaters and the first time I watched it at home, I'm recognizing all the exact same stuff. This is just an amazing popcorn film. Just something that's like, here you go, eat it up, enjoy. But yeah, okay, so thank you guys very much for tuning in. We have got 2 more of these before Infinity War. We've got Age of Ultron and Ant-Man. It seems weird to go out on Ant-Man, but that's the only other one of these that we have not done post Geekout reaction before. So make sure that you come back for those. And then, of course, after it's all said and done, come back for our actual look at Infinity War. Thanks, everyone. Come back next time. Bye.